You want to know if that blue stone in your hand is real turquoise? People toss away fortunes every day because they can't tell the difference. Stick with me, and you'll learn the secrets that jewelers and miners guard like gold. Because the next time you see a piece of turquoise, you'll know if it's treasure or trash. Professional gem hunters know something you don't. They know that the world's most valuable turquoise doesn't look like a jewelry store display. It hides in plain sight, disguised as river pebbles, mine tailings, or even the junk at a flea market. Some of these stones are rarer than diamonds, and the difference between a $5 trinket and a $5,000 heirloom is just a matter of knowing what to look for. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a creek bed, a pawn shop, or your grandmother's jewelry box the same way again. Let's start with the first stone most people overlook. The one that looks like a piece of weathered concrete, dull and pitted, with a color that is more gray than blue. You'd walk past it 100 times, thinking it's just another rock. But crack it open, and you might find the ghostly blue veins of natural turquoise, formed over millions of years by hydrothermal activity deep beneath the Earth's crust. The kind of stone ancient Egyptians mined in the Sinai Desert, risking their lives for a color they believed was the very breath of the gods. The science. Turquoise forms when copper-rich water seeps through arid rock and reacts with aluminum and phosphorus to create that unmistakable blue-green crystal lattice. The identification protocol. Look for a waxy luster, not glassy. The color should be uneven. Nature never paints with a perfect brush. Run your finger over the surface. Real turquoise feels cool and dense, not light or plasticky. If you have a scale, check the specific gravity. Real turquoise sits between 2.6 and 2.9. Value reality check. A single carat of untreated, gem-grade turquoise from a legendary mine can fetch $500, $1,000, even $2,500 if the color is right and the matrix is minimal. This is what nature hides from the impatient. But the next stone fools even the experts. It is bright, almost electric blue, with a spiderweb of black lines that look too perfect to be real. You see it everywhere, in market stalls, online auctions, even high-end boutiques. Here is the secret. Most of these stones are dyed howlite, a cheap, chalky mineral that soaks up blue dye like a sponge. The exterior is almost too pretty, too uniform, too flawless. The hidden truth, if you rub a Q-tip soaked in acetone across the surface, the blue will bleed onto the cotton. That is the tell, the science. Howlite is softer than turquoise. Mohs 3.5 versus 5 to 6. It scratches easily, and the matrix is always gray or black, never brown or golden like the real thing. The identification protocol. Try a gentle scratch test on an inconspicuous spot. If it scratches easily, it is not turquoise. If you see dye pooling in cracks or the color comes off on your skin, walk away. Value reality check. Dyed howlite is worth pennies, not dollars. The only thing it is good for is fooling the unwary. This is the stone that teaches you, not all that glitters blue is gold. And then there's the stone that feels right in your hand, heavy, cool, promising. But look closer. The color is too even, the polish too glassy, the matrix too regular. This is stabilized turquoise, the workhorse of the jewelry world. The ugly exterior? Sometimes it's a chalky, pale blue that no one would buy. After a trip through the stabilization process that uses vacuum, polymer, and pressure, it emerges hard, vibrant, and ready for the spotlight. The science. Over 90% of turquoise on the market is stabilized because natural untreated turquoise is so rare and fragile, it can crumble in your hand. The identification protocol. Under a loupe, you might see resin in the pits or a slightly plastic sheen. The color is stable, but sometimes too perfect. If you want to be sure, ultraviolet light can reveal a faint bluish-white fluorescence from the polymer. Value reality check. Stabilized turquoise is real turquoise, but it's not the holy grail. Prices range from $10 to $250 per carat, depending on color and origin. But a piece from the Kingman mine, with that deep, even blue, can still command respect and cash. This is the stone that proves sometimes nature needs a little help to shine. So you think you've seen it all? Wait until you meet the impostor that has been fooling collectors for centuries. It is called Chrysocolla, and at first glance, it is a dead ringer for turquoise, blue-green, veined, seductive. But the ugly exterior is a clue. It is often more green than blue, and the luster is glassy or dull, never waxy. The hidden truth, Chrysocolla is softer, sometimes crumbling at a touch. The science is simple. It forms in copper-rich environments, just like turquoise, but its crystal structure is different, more fragile and less stable. The identification protocol is straightforward. Scratch it with a copper coin or a steel needle. If it powders easily, it is not turquoise. The color will often fade or change under strong light. Value reality check. Chrysocolla is beautiful, but it is not rare. It sells for a fraction of what real turquoise commands. This is the lesson. Even nature has its lookalikes, and only the patient eye can tell the difference. And now, the stone that is the bane of every prospector's existence, the painted fake. It looks perfect from a distance, but up close, the matrix is too regular, the color too bright, the surface too smooth. The ugly exterior is a mask hiding a core of plastic, glass, or even white ceramic. The hidden truth is simple. Scratch the surface and the paint flakes away, revealing the lie beneath. The science. These fakes are mass-produced, sprayed with turquoise-colored paint, and sometimes even printed with matrix patterns. The identification protocol. Use a hot pen. If it melts or smells like chemicals, it is plastic. If the paint comes off with acetone, it is a fake. If it feels light, warm, or sticky, drop it. Value reality check. These stones are worthless, except as a warning. This is the stone that whispers, the world is full of shortcuts, but none of them lead to treasure. So, you want to know how to test turquoise at home? Here is the prospector's toolkit. First, the acetone test. Dip a cotton swab in nail polish remover and rub it on an inconspicuous spot. If the color comes off, it is dyed or painted. Second, the scratch test. Use a steel needle or a copper coin. Real turquoise resists scratching. Howlite and plastic do not. Third, the specific gravity test. Weigh the stone dry, then weigh it while suspended in water. Real turquoise has a specific gravity between 2.6 and 2.9. If it is much lighter, it is probably fake. Fourth, the ultraviolet light test. In a dark room, shine a long wave ultraviolet lamp on the stone. Natural turquoise is usually inert, but stabilized or resin-filled stones may glow faintly. And finally, the visual inspection. Look for uneven color, natural matrix, and a waxy luster. If the matrix looks painted or the color is too perfect, be suspicious. Let's talk about value, because that's what separates the dreamers from the finders. The most valuable turquoise in the world comes from places like the Lander Blue Mine in Nevada, the Sleeping Beauty Mine in Arizona, and the ancient mines of Persia and Egypt. A single carat of untreated robin's egg blue Persian turquoise can fetch over $2,500. Spider web matrix from Lander Blue can sell for $300 to $600 per carat, sometimes more. Even stabilized Kingman turquoise can bring $100 per carat if the color is right. But the market is flooded with fakes. Dyed howlite, reconstituted stone, plastic, and glass. The difference is knowledge, and knowledge is power. Now the crown jewel, the story that every prospector dreams of. In 2019, a retired schoolteacher in Nevada was hiking an old mining claim when he spotted a blue-green rock half buried in the scree. It looked like nothing special, just another piece of mine waste. He picked it up, felt the weight, and noticed the waxy luster. He took it home, cleaned it, and sent a sample to a gem lab. The verdict was untreated, natural turquoise from a long closed pocket of the Royston mine, with a color so pure it rivaled the best Persian stones. That single stone, just over 30 carats, sold at auction for $18,000. The lesson? The world still hides fortunes for those who know how to look. So, here's your at-home verification protocol. No lab required. Acetone test for dye. Scratch test for hardness. Specific gravity for density. Ultraviolet light for fillers. And always, always trust your senses. Noticing weight, luster, matrix, and the feel of the stone in your hand. If you want to go deeper, invest in a 10 times loupe and learn to spot resin, bubbles, or unnatural matrix patterns. And if you're ever in doubt, find a reputable jeweler or gemologist, because the difference between a doorstop and a fortune is just knowledge. If you want more secrets like this, hidden locations, trade tricks, and the real stories behind the world's most valuable stones, subscribe now. Because the next time you walk a creek bed or browse a pawn shop, you'll have the eyes of a prospector and the instincts of a fortune hunter. Remember the crown jewel, the stone that looked worthless but changed a life. You now possess the knowledge of a pro. The world is full of hidden fortunes, and the only thing standing between you and the next great discovery is the courage to look twice.